My name's Jenelle Riley. I'm the film and TV editor of Backstage. I want to thank you so much for coming out tonight and enduring the fire drill for Ginger and Rosa. At this time, I'm so pleased to welcome tonight's guest. She's just one of the best actresses working today. She has a very impressive resume that includes working with directors from Cameron Crowe to Sofia Coppola to J.J. Abrams, and yes, she's only 14. With Ginger and Rosa, she adds another fantastic character to a rapidly growing filmography that has many critics heralding it as one of the best of the year. Please welcome Elle Fanning. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Congratulations on a beautiful performance.
Oh, thank you.
This is an audience of SAG actors.
Yay! That's great.
So I'm curious, do you remember how you got your SAG card?
Well, the first job I ever did, I was 2. So I guess that was the one in I Am Sam, I played my sister at a younger age. I got to swing on the swing with Sean Penn and sleep in the grass with him. So that was my first movie, my first acting thing.
And you were like, well, it's all downhill from here. So I want to start at the beginning with Ginger and Rosa. This is a film by Sally Potter, who is known for kind of more experimental work, I might say, in films like Yes and Orlando. Were you familiar with her work when the script found its way to you?
I had seen Rage, her online movie that she did, sort of about fashion and sort of like a murder mystery in the fashion world. So I had watched that, and then I read Ginger and Rosa and just completely fell in love with sort of Ginger's journey and everyone else. I loved all the different characters and how unique they were and how they had their specific personalities and all the relationships between all the characters together, and then I went in. I had to audition in front of Sally, and from there, I guess it just went on. I had to do the English accent for that audition. I was very nervous because I had never done an accent before. It was my first time, so that audition, and she's English, so.
Did you practice with a coach, or did you just walk around the house trying it out?
Well, when I was little, that was the accent that I had sort of tried to do when I was sort of playing around the house. And then I did work with the coach beforehand to sort of try to make it as perfect as it could be for that audition. I wanted to be prepared for that. And then from there, Sally hired, a dialect coach, Sandra Fries, and all throughout filming, I was working with her and really perfecting it because it was different because it was London, East London in the 60s, so it's specific to that.
And out of curiosity, was it always Ginger, or did you look at the role of Rosa too?
It was always Ginger for me. And it was never really, it was always presented that way, so I was always looking at her.
But as actors, don't we always kind of read a script and go, oh, that's a good scene. I could do that.
Yeah.
I could play both these parts.
I know. In a way, I felt like I was playing Rosa's part as well, and Alice was playing my part as well, because in the beginning, we're so close. They're best friends. They're bonded, so they are the same person in a way. We had a piece of each other.
And this film is set in 1962, which I'm going to assume is long before you were born. And not just 1962, but as you mentioned, 1962 England. What sort of research, if any, did you do to prepare?
Yeah, it was mostly Sally because she grew up in that time. She was a teenager back then, and she also went on the protest marches, so she was an activist in that way. So she told me and Alice stories of her actually protesting and what it was like, and she also told us about in 60s London, apparently they had these different cliques of people, and there were the beatniks, and that's Sally's group. She was a beatnik. They were like the cool group that listened to jazz music and wore the skinny pants and the big sweaters. So Ginger and Rosa were beatniks as well. So
and would she keep you in check with the accent? Would it ever slip?
Yeah, she would definitely she didn't want it. She didn't want us to be thinking about it. It was something that we really, because we had a long rehearsal time, about 3 to 4 weeks before. We would go to Sally's apartment and just talk about life. Like we would talk about everything and really get to know each other, all of us. And so also during that time, we'd be working and perfecting the accent before. So then when we went in, we just wouldn't be thinking about it. Sometimes she would tell us little things, but she never really made it that big of a deal at the time, just because she wanted us to be thinking about more what was happening in the scene. And
did you have to stay in it between takes? Because I know a lot of actors say if you go out of it, you lose it.
the accent.
Yeah.
For me, it was so specific to Ginger. So when I was playing her, it was just sort of automatic that she would have that voice in the way. When I was, when she said cut, or we would all, because there was a lot of people who weren't, because Christina and Alice, they're both not English, and we would all talk in American between takes. So, and it was helpful being in, being in London, during the time of shooting and really being on locations, because you would pick up, everyone would be talking like that around you, so it was always in your head.
Yeah, you're totally immersed in it.
Yeah.
That's why I pick up a Boston accent when I go to Boston, having never grown up there. You mentioned Alice Englert, the wonderful actress who plays Rosa, and she's also American.
She Australian.
Australian.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh. Yeah, exactly. She speaks Australian.
Well, that's not that you had the harder job. That's not that far from British. Obviously, this film hinges on your chemistry, and you really do feel like two people have known each other a long time. When did you first meet? Well, we first met during the rehearsal time at Sally's apartment, and when you read the script, it really comes across how their togetherness, and so I knew, like, it's crucial to have that bond just from the beginning. Before shooting, I was like, oh, we have to have this, even before ever meeting Alice, and I have a really best friend, and I know, and especially it's very specific to girls, teenage girls. As friends, like when we're friends, we just like pour our heart into the friendship so much, and I feel like just trust each other, and like there's also a secret code where you just give like a little hand gesture and you know exactly what they're saying, and I felt like that's how it had to be like that with Ginger and Rosa, and it was nice because when I met Alice, it genuinely just happened like that, and Sally would just tell us to just go off and walk around London and just get to know each other, and we did, and we actually came up with our own inside jokes and our own little things that we could add, and so that helped so much. Isn't that funny how that never changes, even if it's 1962 London or 2012? Well, we weren't in America,
right, yeah.
but that's what those female friendships are like. So it was really instantaneous for you guys?
It really was. Yeah, completely. We're still friends now, of course.
And what ended up being the hardest part about the shoot?
Well, I think when I first read the script, all the different emotions that Ginger does go through, I knew that would be a challenge, just because in each scene, there's so many different layers that are sort of building on top of each other, and there's an underlying meaning to sort of each scene, and just all the little nuances are so specific, and so I knew that would be hard. And then also the final scene. Of course, that was the one that's like, because when you read the script, it's 12 pages in the script, so it was a monster scene, but we filmed the movie in chronological order.
Oh, cool.
So it helped a lot just to know where your character was at that specific time, and because then you'd go into work and you'd have a memory of yesterday. You know how you felt, so you could sort of build on that emotion. And so that scene, it came the last week of filming, and we shot in 2 days. And when we did it, Sally, we had to do it from beginning to end each time. There was no pickups, so the whole day we'd just be running it from beginning to end, all 12 pages, because it's a build of emotion, so you have to sort of get that, be in the same place there. So.
And at the end of the day, did you just collapse?
I felt, it was funny because I felt more like energized, like I was like cleansed and like, oh, this is so refreshing. Like, after those 2 days, it was like, yay, like I'm ready to go. Like I can smile and be happy.
And then the shoot's over.
Yeah.
And how many shooting days did you have total?
It was about 5 weeks.
Oh,
Yeah.
much time.
Yeah, shooting every day. Yeah, we'd always.
If I can go back to the beginning of your career, which is like 2 years ago, it feels like What's ironic is that you've had a very long career at the age of 14. You mentioned you started performing since the age of 2. When did you actually realize you wanted this as a career, or actually, do you want this as a career?
No, I definitely do. It's something I love. I can't really. I feel like, oh, I always have to go to a movie, and I just love it so much. I guess, well, when I was little, me and my sister, we'd create sort of characters and dress up, and even before movies when we were really young, and just, like put on shows and things, and that was so fun, and then there's actually like a career that you can do that. You can just dress up and have fun. Like, who doesn't want to do that? Like, and so once I found that out when I was, I guess when I was 2 or so, even though I probably, I don't think I knew that that was actually like a movie. There was like cameras and everything at that time. But as I got older, I started to realize what it was, and that I wanted to continue and always dress up. So.
And how are you at auditioning? I mean, you must be good. You get the parts.
Yeah. They do make me very nervous. Auditions make me very nervous. I think it's also like you're meeting someone for the first time, and it's like you want to have like a connection with them. So you're going in and, oh, are they gonna like me? Like all those little things, and but I think like the best feeling is when you feel confident about it afterwards. That's like, it's such a priceless feeling that, oh, you had a connection and you felt good about it. So that's nice.
And then you find out you didn't get the part.
Yeah, and then you're like, what? I thought that it went great.
I thought he liked me.
Yeah.
What was your worst audition?
I'm trying to think. There hasn't been one that's like stood out as crazy. Probably, I don't know.
You don't have to say the project.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm thinking you want to always sort of have like a vibe of like a realness, like you're just talking between people, and the ones where it's more like you're just going in, it's like robotic, and you sit down and just do it, and there's like, okay, bye, like then it doesn't go well because there's not like a naturalness to it. Like once you have that sort of person-to-person feeling, then it's going well.
I mentioned you've worked with some amazing directors. I mentioned J.J. Abrams and Cameron Crowe. Also, obviously, Sally and David Fincher. What is it you hope for from a director?
I think that for them to feel like you can really talk to them and relate to them and be, because in movies it's funny because you have to express emotions that maybe personally you would never express. So it's like you're opening up to, at first it's a stranger, and then you meet them, and you have to bond quickly and get to know them really fast. So then you can sort of become another character in front of them. It's a funny relationship, and it's such, actor and director is such a close. It's unlike any other, because you do express things that you would maybe never express to even your family. You've never showed that side of you, but you're showing it to this other person. And so just to have that sort of, you feel safe, the safeness. And so yeah, look for the safeness.
What's been the hardest role you've had to play?
I guess I'd say this one. Yeah. It's definitely this one. I guess it's the most I've sort of put your all into this Ginger, and I felt like I really got to know her so well, and that was also because of Sally and just how she sort of works with all of us and little things that she'll have us do, like in rehearsals, me and Alice, to even get closer and to get to know our characters more. We did this like exercise where we would look at the scenes and then we wouldn't say the lines, we would say what each other is thinking about each other in our characters. And so that like gave us insight into each other's minds that we would never have if we didn't do that. So then while we're filming, we can sort of reflect back to that memory of what she's actually thinking, because, yeah, it was really helpful.
You've done really well with women directors as well, Sally and Sophia. Yeah. I hate to boil it down to say, like, is there a difference? But is there a difference working with a male and female director?
Well, I think it's so, because you are girls, you feel like you're on like the same, like you sort of understand each other in that way. And with this one, it was like Sally she really reflected back on her teenage life, like during shooting, and she would talk about it a lot, and like the ironing of the hair and shrinking the jeans, like she really did that, and it was so fun to sort of hear her. We could sort of like compare our teenage experiences as girls, and that was neat to do, as well as Sophia.
Are you old enough now to see any of Sally's other movies?
Yeah, I think so. I haven't.
Because I don't know if I'm old enough for Orlando, honestly.
I want to see Orlando. I really do. Yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. I shouldn't make it sound like it's like so out there.
Like
it's just, I grew up in Oregon and saw that when I was like 18, and I was like, I didn't know you could do that in a movie. I want to take some audience questions, and forgive me in advance if I butcher anyone's name. I've been there. I'm sorry. And of course, I'm going to start with the toughest one. I think it's Nadiv Molcho. Thank you. Wants to know, what's your biggest challenge working as a young actress, and how do you approach it?
My biggest, I guess it's mostly the challenges that are in the movies that you do, and sort of the obstacles you have to face, like through the movies. And I think for me, it's all the people that I've worked with have always sort of treated me not like a really like small kid. They've always sort of put me on, you're an actor, you're an actor, just like, all the adults are actors as well. So that's, and that's been really nice for me, I think. But then also I'm just sort of, when I'm not working, I'm going to school and just sort of doing the same routine, and, the routine of just normal life as well. So, because it's only a couple months out of the year that you're actually filming a movie, and then you're just at home.
I feel like, in most of your films, I feel like you're usually if not the only young actor on the film. There's not many, but in something like Super 8, you have a whole ensemble of young actors. Was that a different experience?
I guess it was different because there were so many, like, people my own age on. I was actually the youngest one.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah, I was 12, and they were all teenagers. They rubbed that in a lot. And so they would always tease me about that. But that was the most fun. It was just, we became so close, and we would just run around the set, and and JJ was like a kid as well. Like, he was like on his iPhone, like showing us the latest app, or like, so it was very fun. I liked it a lot.
What's ironic is in like 10 or 20 years, they're not going to be so happy about you being younger. Yeah. Only when you're a kid is it cool to be the older one.
Yeah.
We have a question from Michael. Wants to know if you plan on going to college, and if so, will you put your career on hold for school or juggle both?
I definitely want to go to college. My sister is at NYU right now, and she's still working as well. She's in this sort of program where she can go. She's still in school and doing all her classes, but then she can also go and do movies. So I think that's something that definitely appeals to me. I'd like to do that as well, like her.
Does she know what her major is yet?
I'm not sure. I think it's psychology. She liked psychology a lot in high school. I'm not sure. She's in her second year already, but yeah, she did like it a lot. So.
Which is kind of like acting.
Yeah.
I think it'll help.
Yeah.
We have a question from Jordan Van Vronken. Did I get that right? Sorry. You're 15? Oh my gosh. She wants to know, I'm a young actress too and really admire your work. What advice would you give to her?
I think that always push through, even if, because there's going to be probably a lot of no's that, that's going to happen. And, but just if it's something that you really love to do and it's something that's so special to you and you feel like, oh, I just have to do it, and there's like just a magnet, just go for it. And yeah, just keep doing it, because there will be something definitely one day.
We have another young actor, Katie, age 12. So you guys, like, I feel like when I was 12, I looked like I was 4. You guys are gorgeous. What's going on here? Oh, hey, stand up. She says she's tall for her age. So I wonder how you handle casting directors and really anyone who sees you as too tall or mature for your age.
Yeah, I've always been the tall one. So but I love it. Like, I want to grow more. So I think just embrace it. And like, you can you're tall, and that's what you love, and that's who I am. So just don't try to, like, shrink down. Just like be confident and stand up straight. And that's what I've always done. Like,
you're going to show up for that Super 8 sequel, The Tallest and Youngest, and they're just... hey, is there a Super 8 sequel?
No, all my friends tease me. They're like, Super 9. I'm like, no.
Never say never. We have a question from Nancy. Wants to know, what's been your, first of all, gorgeous handwriting. What's been your most memorable movie-making experience thus far?
Oh, well, I definitely have memories from all of them that I do. I feel like sometimes I'll see like a certain color or like a certain smell, and I'll be like, oh, I remember that day on that scene, and I love that you can, and also looking back on the movies that you've done, sort of watching them again and knowing what's happening behind the scenes is always so fun. And yeah, I think, I don't know a specific one because I have so many.
We have a lot of questions, actually, about a film I know you've shot, but won't be out, I think, for another year, Maleficent.
Yeah.
You're playing Princess Aurora,
yes.
a.k.a. Sleeping Beauty. So many questions about it. I guess, can you tell us about the casting process?
Yeah, I went in, and I knew it was for, I hadn't read the script or anything. I knew it was for Sleeping Beauty, something having to do with Sleeping Beauty. And I knew Angelina Jolie was in it, and I don't even think I knew that she was playing the evil fairy Maleficent yet, but so I just sort of went in there just knowing it was Aurora, and I met with Robert Stromberg, the director, and from then it was just a meeting, and we just met each other, and on that day he gave me the script to read, and it just happened. Then I went back to London, and in the same year that I did Ginger and Rosa. I just finished it. It was over the summer. I did Maleficent. And yeah, I filmed it. It was so much fun. It's like every girl's dream to be a Disney princess. Yeah. Like, it was incredible to get to wear the dresses and the hair and just the whole experience. And then Angelina was like so cool.
Did you have to audition with her, or did you meet her on set? Or?
I didn't. I met her, during sort of the rehearsal time. We were getting all the outfits right, and I turned the corner. We were at Pinewood Studios, and I turned the corner, and there she was. I did not know that I was going to meet her that day. I didn't even know I was going to see her. We just like sort of bumped into each other, and I was like, oh my God, she's there. And then she just right away, she just gave me a big hug, and she said, we're going to have so much fun working together. And I was like, oh, she's touching me. Like, this is huge. And so from then, and then we started working together. I slowly got used to it.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know if I would ever get used to it. And it's a whole other. I mean, I guess you did a lot of special effects work with Super 8, but it's a whole other style of acting to be acting opposite a tennis ball or against a green screen.
Yeah.
What were the challenges presented in that?
Yeah, it was definitely different because I went from Ginger and Rosa to Maleficent, so they're just so opposites. And yeah, with Maleficent, there was a lot of green screen, probably a lot more than Super 8, because there were. In Super 8, we had the monster, but then in Maleficent, we're creating worlds. We're creating, in the distance, they have all these little points, and like, oh, that's going to be the little house down there, and the pathway, and everything. It's just, and Robert Stromberg, the director, did the visual effects for Avatar, so he really knows that world. And, but no, the green screen is really, you have to use your imagination a lot, and everyone, it's funny because I'm sure that Angelina, when she's looking at the green screen, she's seeing something different, but then I'm seeing something different. So we're all imagining a different place. It's just sort of what you think of, which is, I like that. It's fun. It's cool.
Have they given you an idea what it's actually going to look like? Have you seen any footage, or is it too early?
Haven't seen anything like that. I mean, before they had little, pictures of what it was going to be, but then they're like, oh, it's going to look nothing like this. But it was like, okay,
Then why show it to you?
I don't know, yeah. It's like, oh, it's going to be so much better. It's like, okay.
I have to imagine, like, the budget for Ginger and Rosa probably wouldn't even cover, like, a day of catering on Maleficent. What's it like going from, like, a small indie to this big studio film? I mean, do you adjust your acting style at all, or is it just...
You have to sort of look at it in the same way because they're both movies, and everyone's still, the lighting people are still doing the same thing that the lighting guys are doing on Ginger and Rosa as Maleficent. We're all sort of working together in that way. It's just much bigger, a lot of more people to sort of get to know. Yeah, but no, you just go in the same way. You're still a character. You're still playing someone else.
And what else is up next after that?
Well, that's high school right now. Yeah, I'm in 9th grade. I just started, so yeah, I'm sort of just doing that, and then maybe there'll probably be something next year that I'll do. But yeah, just waiting for this to come out and for Maleficent to come out. So.
Are there at your school? Are there any other actors, or
there are a few. It's not like an acting school. It's just a normal school. But they let me, they allow me to leave. So when I'm on set, I still have to do all my schoolwork. But yeah, they let me go sort of a couple months, and then I come back. But when I come back, I have to be like right on track with all the other classmates and know all the same material. So I have a teacher that goes with me on the sets to keep up with everything.
And you did mention you'll probably go to college. Do you know what you want to study?
I don't know. I was thinking that I might want to do writing because I love writing, and I know that I want to write something one day. So maybe I'll study that.
I can't wait to see what you do next. Congratulations again on a beautiful performance.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming out. Thank you guys.